Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Line up, everybody. Here we go.
Episode number 326. The episode name is The Top 20 Excuses Real Estate Rookies Use to Not Take Action and How to Fix It. Here's the description. Overthinkers. I could just stop right there, right? Overthinkers. So many books have been written about purpose and why you want to do something. But today we plan to shatter this very widespread myth. Life is about execution rather than purpose. Actually, purpose comes from your results, not what you imagine. Without taking action, you will never get anywhere. Maybe taking action is so hard because there isn't a guide. Maybe by now you are thinking, we already know we need to take action, so why talk about it? Well, did you ever consider information isn't what's scarce, but the willingness to do something with it is. Which is what the next 60 minutes are all about in this podcast. Google can give you the information. Here, we plan to get you out of inaction and depression. And maybe just get you to err on the side of action. And why action is a lot cheaper than planning, why action beats the odds, and makes you humble enough and create a real estate to become a millionaire and retire early. Listen to these top 20 excuses and maybe, just maybe, you'll get off your fragile butt and get going.
Okay.
Here we go. So first of all, let's do the housekeeping things. So if you are watching us or listening to us, please go subscribe to wherever you are so you know when we're here, or leave us a review or like us, or if you're on Facebook or any one of those, hit a little like button and let us know that you like us, and we like that. Also, we record every Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you go to Flipping Houses for Rookies, either on YouTube or on Facebook, you'll find us. I have a connected link to all of those platforms. So if you have questions about the podcast or about what we're talking about, you can put them in the comment section or wherever you could write on those platforms. They come right to us, and I'll answer your questions. But please make sure that they are questions that pertain to what we're talking about. If you have other questions or want to talk to me personally, you can go to flippinghouses4rookies.com, and you can click on the support button on the top right-hand side, and all that communication comes to me, and I answer them usually a couple times a day, unless I'm out playing with my grandkids or going to Massachusetts with Peter.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, cool. So the last thing is wherever you're watching us or listening to us, in the description, there's a link. And this episode, there's a link to the guide I speaketh of. So there's a link in there with a guide. This is not something I have written. This was something that was passed along to me. I read it a few times. It was pretty cool. It's actually a blog. And it was printed by, hang on, I'll tell you. It was printed by the Startup Bros. Okay, it's a really cool thing. I printed out. I've read it a couple times, so you can go click on the link and grab it yourself. It's for free. All right, so let's get started. 20 reasons for inaction and how to short circuit them. Notice I said reasons. The title was excuses. 20 excuses.
Yeah, well, so which is it?
So notice I said reasons and not excuses. Only because those thinking these believe they're actually convinced themselves that they're true.
So you're trying to be polite to edge and get in the door?
So everybody else will see them as excuses except for the person thinking them. They'll believe that they are true.
Yeah.
Right? So this is kind of where my head is at when I say this, okay? There is such thing as a subjective reality and an objective reality. And very many people I know in my life, which I will remain, I will not speak of their names right now. The subjective reality means what's inside your head, and the objective reality, which is outside in the real world, do not match. And these people are family members. They're very close family members. And I tell you, it is very, very annoying when you're looking at a car and they're talking about an elephant. It's pretty bad. And in the world of creative real estate, we have a lot of that. And the reason why is there's a lot of lack of examples, lack of seeing it, lack of like reality, or we call it mass, lack of mass. You know, like a tractor is mass, you know, a car is mass, a house is mass. And what happens is in the creative real estate business, it's wrong. It's all backwards. It's totally screwed up because people are looking for houses, and they don't need to be looking for houses. They need to be looking for motivated sellers that own a house. And they don't know that. So it gets all like misconstrued in their head because they think, oh, I got to buy a house. No, you don't. You need to buy or control the paperwork that controls the house, not the house.
So it's a little backwards. We're not really looking for the mass. We're looking for the information about
the significance of it.
Yeah. I was talking to a few people yesterday, and it's like right away, you want to see the house, you want to see the house, you want to see the house. I'm not moving in. I don't care. Right. If it makes money, I'll buy it. If it doesn't make money, I don't care. Doesn't matter. He goes, oh, I see.
Soon as you flip that idea in your head, then it changes. Now, I don't have this as part of our script today, but I'm going to buzz through this in a couple minutes just to tell you why I had this realization. So I had a partner in the beginning, and we split everything 50-50. We did a bunch of deals together. He was the money guy. I was the worker, you know, yada, 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 right?
Yep.
It's a good way to start. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm buzzing around. I'm in Waterbury, Connecticut. Now, this is the time when Robin Thompson was still buying houses. Robin Thompson is a Ron LeGrand guru that she went through his training. She did a big thing. She was a waitress in a Waterbury restaurant, and she in Waterbury, Connecticut, and she actually bought and she said she made her fortune in Waterbury was really in Meriden, which is my backyard. So when I was first starting, my competition was Robin Thompson and then later Than Merrill. They were my competition. Okay, so here's what happened. So she's out making offers, and they're out making offers, and so I'm in a house in Waterbury, and my partner is like, I don't want to give my bank account for proof of funds. Back then, we didn't know we could use a lawyer for proof of funds. We didn't know that. We were totally green, right? I was, anyways.
Yeah, well, don't fly by that when people don't know this. Usually, you go to a bank to get a proof of funds, but you just call your lawyer, say, send me a letter, and just say I have money.
Yeah, exactly. You have a certain amount, and it's totally fine. So here's what happens. So I go in this house in Waterbury, and they're selling it, and my offer is like $63,000. I forgot the exact number. It was 60-something.
67.
66, 67. Okay, 67. So it was $67,000. So the realtor says, you got a proof of funds. I said, yep. He said, okay, good. He said, okay, good. So he writes up the contract, and I take out a check that has my partner's name on it, and I write a check out to the bank for $67,000.
Now that's pretty good proof, right? That proves it. It's a check.
He said, what's this? I said, I want to buy the house. This is my proof. When they negotiate the check and they have the money, tell them to send me the title.
And what do they say, Bill?
2 hours later, he calls me back. I'll never forget it because I was driving on 84 at the time for whatever reason. I almost crashed my car. He's like, I talked to the bank. They said that's not proof of funds. I'm like, what?
I'm sorry.
Here's my lawyer's name. Call him and just have the bank, like, before they negotiate it, have them arrange something and just tell them to just cash the check. Bank won't do that. At that point, I realized, what do I have? I have a non-motivated seller.
The bank.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And from that day forward, my life changed because I stopped. Because what was happening was, as I had been out for weeks, looking at houses, making offers, calling contractors, trying to figure out what my offer should be, on the side of the road, using my cell phone minutes, 6,000 minutes a month. Yikes. 6,000 minutes a month. And back then, that was a big deal because their plans were only like 500 minutes a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, ouch.
So that's what happened. So I needed to learn that sellers need to be motivated. We're in the people business when we're doing creative real estate, not in the money house business. Anyways, that's not why we're here. So let's jump into the most dangerous and subtle relationships, rationalizations. That's really what it is, right? Let's jump into the most dangerous and subtle rationalizations we use to avoid doing things we know we should in life.
So now we got excuses, reasons, and rationalizations.
Right. How am I doing so far with my words?
Man. And you get to pick which one. You know, we should make a list and people should check off which one it is for them.
That's okay with me. All right, so here's what I'm going to do.
Get your guide, check it off, mark it.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to list them. I'm going to rattle them off, right? And then come back and talk about a few of them. We're not going to do all 20 of them. We're just going to take the ones that I hear a lot.
Sure.
Okay? And the reason why I hear them is because, in case you don't know, you can schedule with me a one-on-one 45-minute free consultation, which is not me trying to sell you anything. Unless you want to buy something, then we talk about it. But it's usually strategic planning, questions you might have, things that are hanging around in your mind that nobody else seems to answer because they want you to pay, $4,000 for their course to answer their question, or $30,000 for their coaching to answer your question. Okay, so that's why I do it. It's a lot easier sometimes to do a free consultation with somebody for 45 minutes than actually email them back and forth trying to explain it to them and type it out and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I do it. Plus, karma is a beautiful thing. Here we go. Number one. I'm waiting for help.
Wow.
Number two. The conditions aren't right. Number three. The setback proved is not possible or worth it.
Say that again? The what? The
The
setback?
setback proved is not possible or worth it. Like you say all the time, you got to work a year before you get a profit. So the setback proved is not worth it or possible. Like I can't go a whole year without making money. Right? Number four, I picked the wrong path. I should try something else. That's usually what we talk about a lot of times, where there's misunderstood words or you didn't. We talk all the time about misunderstood words, but really there's two things that could be misunderstood. I don't know what's the matter with my throat today. Sorry. You could misunderstand the concept, or you could have misunderstood words. You could have one or the other. So often, like, I have a coaching client that's been with me for a while and doesn't grasp the concept of an option deal. And makes offers, and they're like these crazy offers, and I'm like, it's because they don't understand. And I go over it, but there's just, my wife, I've talked about my wife. My wife cannot grasp the concept of subject to. It's too significant. It's the subconscious mind that can't wrap their mind around it.
Weird.
And I run into that a lot. Number five, I don't know where to begin. I get that a lot. 6, nothing I do will make a difference. Number seven, I'm overwhelmed. Number 8, and which, by the way, Peter, you have given me some of these excuses. So, and I have given some to you.
When I chuckle, that's why.
Number 8, I'm
Some of these are real.
Number 8, I'm not making any progress. Number 9, I'm trapped. Number 10, it's below me, or I'm too good for that.
Ooh, wow.
That we get a lot on calling sellers, and like, I'm not a salesman. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not doing that. Right?
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Number 11. Now, Peter, I know you've never heard this one before. Okay? So this is going to be a shocker to you. Sarcasm. I need to know more. 13. They're already doing it better than I could. Number 14. I have no resources compared to them. Number 15. I'm so drained from my existing obligations. That should be number 1 in my book.
That's yours.
No, well, yeah, I don't use an excuse, but I hear that.
It has been, but you've gotten away from that. You've gotten away from those things that drain.
That's right.
So it's not a problem.
My point is like, I'll talk to somebody about being a coaching client, and they're like, they have so many. In fact, I'm running into this with Sean. He's like having trouble keeping up because he's got a regular job. He's in the Army. He does creative REI replay and houses. There's not enough time. Plus, he's in Peru with his girlfriend. Uh-oh. So I only hear these complaints from him when he's around his girl. So what does that tell you? So 15, I'm so drained from my existing obligations. 16, I'm completely burnt out. 17, I am taking action. 18, it won't work. 19, don't have the right resources like money, equipment, connections, etc.
Yep.
And 20, I'm not good enough.
Flunk.
How's the list, Peter?
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. You know, everybody should download that and just quit. Just quit. Just quit now. Just pick your best 5 and just turn the TV on.
See? Somebody else thinks them, so they must be real. I got group agreement.
Oh no, hell yeah. No, they're not. I don't think any one of those is surprising. They're all pretty sad. Some sadder than others, but I mean, what field could you not apply that to? Right. I'm a musician. Try to become a professional musician with recordings and contracts and tours and stuff. Try that one on. Woo! You can use the same list for a lot of things.
I think my next life I'm going to come back into music, because there's one thing that I know about musicians. Every musician, 100%, is a wannabe.
Yeah.
100% is a wannabe. They want to be a rock star, or they want to be on stage, or they want to have an album, or they're a wannabe. I've never met one that isn't. And their entire life is actually altered by that wannabe. Mm-hmm. I mean, they will do amazing, crazy things just to get a gig, right? And it's just wild. So.
It's a fun thing. When it works, it's a glorious thing. Yeah, I've been on radio, concerts. You know, it's a fun thing.
Okay, let's pick some of these to talk about. But first, realize this: 2 things. Mm-hmm. Action is normally against your impulse. Most people don't have the impulse to take action.
Yeah.
And 2, this is very interesting, Peter. 2, pain is good. It's just, pain is good, just not irreversible pain. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm suggesting putting your ego, comfort, and routine in danger here.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Pain in the human body is an indicator like we're heading towards death.
Yeah, something's wrong here.
Right. It's like a tell, like in poker, it's a tell like, this is dangerous, mind. You better not let us keep doing this, mind. Stop thinking that, Mr. Mind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're spiritual, stop thinking that, Mr. Spirit. Right? Yeah. Like if you're spiritual. Like so the point is pain is an indicator.
It's a warning.
It's
a warning.
That's right. Something's not going right. It's a warning. So pain is good. It's irreversible pain that's bad. Like you get in a car accident, you're in a hospital, and you're there for 3 years. Mm-hmm. That's not good. Mm-hmm. But pain in your mind, like your ego or your comfort level or your routine, when that's in danger, that's not so horrible. Because you're safe. It's just your pride that's getting hit. Right? Now listen to this. This is probably my most famous saying in this podcast. Sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ignorant action will make you research more. And try to be effective and painless.
Well, I've never heard you use words like that all strung together. Say that again. Ignorant
action will make you research more and try to be effective and painless.
But is that good or bad?
It's bad. Ignorant action. What does ignorant mean? You don't know.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, if you have ignorant action, you should try to get the information to fix that, no? So I'm missing why it's bad. Because it sounds like if you don't know something, go figure it out. But how are you putting it now?
So let's just keep going, and if you still have a question in a minute, then ask it, right? Mm-hmm. Most don't consider action is the best research to use.
Mm-hmm.
We call it cause and effect. You and I call it reach and withdraw.
Mm.
The more you emerge into something, the more you learn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's reach and withdraw. Like if you emerge into it, which is the reach.
Yeah.
You make a mistake, you withdraw, you think about it, you analyze it, and then you go back in and do it the new way.
I get it. Yeah, so you're saying if when you don't know something, you're not sure of something, you can go look for theoretical answers, go look in a book somewhere, or you just forge ahead. And you have more experience than me, and just to keep up with you or catch up or even whatever, catch up, I have to really observe what's going on and try to get into it and just push deeper into it, not pull back. I gotta look, I gotta touch, I gotta think about it.
Well, let's step aside for a second. Mm-hmm. Is thinking good or bad?
Well, there's a kind of thinking that's bad. We just think and think and think and think and think. That's bad. If you're thinking like looking at a situation and coming up with, how can I fix it? This way, this way, this way. What can I do about it? And then come up with an answer. To me, that's fine. So how are you looking at it?
100% the worst thing in the world you could do is think.
Mm-hmm.
They say knowledge is power. That's bullshit. Here's the reason why. The only thing that you're using in your memory are things that didn't go well, and you're hanging on to them hoping you don't do it again. The things that you do good, half the time you don't remember until something initiates it. So you don't hang on to you don't hang on to the successes, you hang on to the failures. So when somebody's thinking, they're going through their mind, scanning their mind, looking at all their failures. They're not looking at their successes because they don't remember those half the time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That may seem weird to people, but think of it this way. When you have something that's a problem, you have to hang on to it to somehow figure it out so it stops being a problem, so you're not in danger. Things that go well, oh good, that was fine. You can just let it go. It's there, but it's not like in front of your mind. The other stuff is like, you can have 10 things go good in one day, one thing go bad, and what's in your mind? That one thing, because you need to fix it. So when you look at your experiences, those bad ones can stick out, unfortunately.
JR says hi.
Hey,
Hello,
JR.
So, yeah, so the point that I'm trying to make here is that, so people, because people think that your memory is just, it only hangs on to the things that you were not successful with. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't just pull up like, oh, I had a great time with my grandkids last weekend. But you don't hang on to that. That's just there. You just mock that up when you need it.
Yep.
But things
those don't stick.
Yeah, they don't stick. That's
the
right.
bad things stick
And hang around. So when you're thinking, you're using all your bad experiences to rationalize. So you're using your subconscious mind to rationalize, and your subconscious mind doesn't rationalize. Your analytical mind does.
Yeah.
Right? So the best thing that you could do is get into action and observe, reach and withdraw. Go in a little bit, try it, come back out, which is why we talk so much about the rent-to-own method, because you can go in, not be at risk, observe how a deal goes, and not get hurt. It's impossible to get hurt with a lease option. Impossible to get hurt. So you can reach, you can learn, make a few little tiny mistakes, and then withdraw, and then do it again.
Yep.
Right? Little tiny steps. Okay? Okay, so enough of that. So all this reach and withdraw effect, cause and effect, all that stuff just creates courage. That's what it is. Confidence and courage. Okay? Okay, let's get a few of these reasons why most people give reasons why most people give when they're not doing stuff. So let's go through the list.
Yep.
Number 1, I'm waiting for help. Are you really? Did you call someone for help?
No, you're just waiting. Seriously.
Did someone say help is on the way? If not, what makes you think help is on its way? Did you do something to generate help? Or are you just telling all the people around you that have no clue what you know, because you're here and you're over there and you're reading books and you have much more knowledge than they do? Right? I'll never forget. In fact, this is the third time in a week that I've talked about this. I bought a course from Dan Kennedy. It was thousands of dollars. And it's making $1 million a year. I have to find that course I because I keep referencing to it. One of the things that I remember distinctly him saying is, if you're making $100,000 a year now and you start making $1 million a year, the first thing on the list is you're going to lose all your friends and get new ones.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Because people that make $100,000 a year don't think the way people that make $1 million a year.
Yep.
And that has for sure happened in my life. I actually time block time to be with people that I don't have to I could just be me. Like, for example, my daughter's coming over on Friday afternoon. She wants to work from the house and she wants to have lunch. I don't have to, I'm just going to be with my daughter. I don't have to be, I could just be me. We're not going to talk about my stuff. And if we do, she just listens and there you go. But I don't expect to use her as a sounding board. I have other people that are my sounding boards, right?
Yep.
So anyways, really want help. So, like I said, is someone coming? If they are coming, do you think that person can actually give your life purpose, passion, and inject feelings of motivation into you?
Ooh.
Like I said, passion and purpose and the reason why always, and you have to really look at this, Peter. I know for sure you need to look at this for sure, because I needed to, and if I needed to, I know you do, and if you do, I know everybody else does. Passion comes from results, from action. It doesn't come from the idea that I want to. Passion comes from yes, I can do this. There's a belief there. There's a promise of hope. Yeah, I could do this. That's where passion comes from. It doesn't come from, I want to make, 20, I hear this all the time. I want to do 3 houses a month. And I want to make, $500,000 this year. Well, if you don't do the first 3 houses, you'll lose the passion. You won't have the passion. There is no passion. The passion comes from the results. Make sense?
Sure.
Besides, the truth of this is the person who tries to do something, believe it or not, is the person that will get help.
Oh yeah, if you get moving.
My wife asks me, because I help another guru do his coaching, right?
Yeah.
And I do it for free. Like this past weekend, I did a 20-hour seminar with him. 10 hours on one day, on Saturday, and 10 hours on Sunday. I didn't get paid a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do that? Because out of that group, I picked up 2 or 3 people that need help with deal structuring, and he doesn't do that. He doesn't help them on the phone. So I'll get with those clients, and every one of them, one for one, will be like, I'll give you part of my deal. Now, I don't normally look for that kind of stuff because to me, it's normally a waste of time. But the reason why I do it with these people is because they're on the coaching call week after week after week, and they're actually trying.
Yeah. They deserve the help.
I see them trying. Other people will come at me and they'll send me a support ticket like, if you and I partner, can we split deals? You did it to me. Like, and what did I say to you? So what do I need you for? I can do my deals on my own. What do I need you for? If you bring me a deal, I'll just give you a commission. Mm-hmm. Right? And then in the beginning, it's like, so you were clever because you're like, what do you want? I want to get on the radio. Get me on the radio. And you did. You went off and spent hours or days or whatever you did, and you got us on the radio. Mm-hmm. I mean, I paid for it, but you did all the legwork.
Mm-hmm. No, it has to be, I've seen people come and go in our circle. Oh, yeah. And there's the difference is they want something from you or they want to help get something accomplished with you.
Right.
Supportive, give back. So it's just the right and the wrong attitude.
It's exchange.
And anything.
It's exchange.
It
Number
is.
two, let's move on. Number 2, the conditions aren't right. Oh boy, do we hear this in real estate all the time. We just came through it. A bunch of creative real estate people gave up over the last year because it was a cash market, right?
Yeah.
And then halfway through it, I started saying, well, if it's a cash market, then let's just give them cash. What do you mean give them cash? Well, we'll start doing options, right? Yeah. Now, you're doing an option right now, and technically it's a little bit late. Technically, and we're finding that out, right?
Yeah. Got another appointment today at 1.
Good. All right. So
and that's important. What I've kind of grasped this last year, having been in this a few years and seen this and seen that and seen some things come and go, is that we're not in the real estate business. We're in this real estate business, that real estate business. There's different businesses in this business. There's different types of things. There's different types of buyers. And I've actually kind of cataloged a little bit. There's this kind of buyer, that kind of buyer. And you have to know what you're dealing with so you're not selling hamburgers to vegetarians.
Right.
So you can see what's really going on and do what's needed for what's happening right now.
Right. So the conditions aren't right. My mother and father were in Fort Myers. They lost their house. She's 80. He's 83. I have literally, it has ruined my life. For 3.5 weeks, an hour to 3 hours a day, I am on the phone. The conditions aren't right. I could easily say, Ma and Dad, you got to move out of Fort Myers. He doesn't want to leave Fort Myers Beach. He doesn't want to leave Fort Myers. Never mind, Fort Myers. They lived on Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah.
And I could easily say the conditions aren't right. And I started to do that. But here's the single datum that I stuck to, which I teach all the time. Mm-hmm. And you know this. Outflow gets inflow. Yeah. Right? And we were taught that. Right? So outflow gets inflow. Right? So I kept saying to my sister, we're outflowing so much, something has to happen. Because we're just outflowing. I mean, I tried assisted living, I tried convalescent homes, I tried independent living, I tried buying them a mobile home, I tried buying them a condo, I sent them to multiple rental properties, I tried Airbnb, all this I've been through the gamut.
Yeah.
On the phone, hour after hour after hour, rejection after rejection, sending them out. They're exhausted. Sending them out, go look at this, go look at that. My mother yelling and screaming at me, I got to give her days off, because she's tired. Because my father's on oxygen. He walks 15 feet and he's got to sit down, right? So, and they don't have wheelchairs. They have nothing. They have what they put in their car and that's it. They lost everything. Sure enough, 2 nights ago it happened. It fell right in our lap. We found a place for them to live, and I'm in the middle of signing a lease right now, and it's probably the best thing that will ever happen to them in their entire life.
Wow.
Because I didn't use the excuse the conditions aren't right. I just kept going. I didn't stop. So think of this. These conditions started, these corporations, I got to read my own writing correctly. These corporations started in depressions. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Walt Disney, Costco, Standard Oil, LinkedIn, and
LinkedIn?
Wait
a minute. Which depression?
Throughout life, just through depressions, like bad times, right?
I'm back in 1930 when you said Walt Disney. Okay,
No,
but
no.
any bad condition era.
They were in a depression type of an era because we've had
Gotcha.
more than just the 1930s. The problem with the 1930s is it was the banks, but like we're in one right now and nobody's naming it, right? I mean, inflation is horrible. I mean, I told my wife the other day, my personal financial plan is up almost $1,000 for the same exact shit I was buying a year ago. Almost $1,000. So Walt Disney, Costco, Standard Oil, LinkedIn, Microsoft. Google them. You'll see. Right?
Yep.
What's your excuse now?
That's right.
Let's jump down to number 4.
Mm-hmm.
I picked the wrong path. I should try something else. I guess the emotional pain got too much for you, huh? If you quit now, you'll be one of those storytellers when you're older, telling everybody about the deals you should have done or you should have made, and how much money you could have made or should have made. You know one of those people? You know one of those people?
No.
I do it once in a while. I'll be like, I got to tell you, I'll tell you my personal story. Mm-hmm. So my wife and I have been together. I don't know how long we've been together. I think 20, 22 years, 23 years, something like that. We've been married, I think, 18 years.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, but yeah. So back in the beginning, I don't remember what the hell we were doing, but we were in Florida. And believe it or not, this is before my family was there. This is before all this has happened. My family were not there at all. They were all back in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. We drove through Cape Coral, Florida. And she said, we got to buy here. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that long distance real estate thing. Now, this is 20 something years ago, back when, I don't even think we had cell phones. Okay. So she's like, we got to buy here. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. You really don't know what you're talking about. I kind of invalidated her, which is wrong. I realize it now, but I used to do a lot of that with her, right? So you don't know what you're talking about. We can't do that, right? $30,000, $40,000 houses, $60,000 houses, right? All these years later, my sister just moved out of her house because when she rented it for 9 years for $1,400, the guy paid $125,000 for it. He paid 9 years ago. Well, now it's 10 years ago because she's been gone a year. 10 years ago, paid $125,000 for it. He sold it for $550,000 and put $200,000 into it. The girl next door, where my mother and father are staying right now, is $750,000.
Unbelievable. Are these regular size houses, 1,500 square feet, 1,200?
Just a house. No, they're like 1,800 square. It's just a house. These are not mansions on the water. This is not any of that. That stuff goes for $1 million, $2 million. This is just a house. They have a canal, but Cape Coral is known for all their canals because when they started this place in the early 60s, the guy was, I'm going to refer him to somebody like me. He wanted a marketing angle, not an angle, but a reason to talk about something. And he wanted to promote to the Northerners that they're selling waterfront property. So they got a steam shovel and they started digging canals so they can promote they had waterfront properties. And now they have, 225,000 people in that community, and it's one of the hottest communities in Florida, never mind the country. Right?
Yeah.
So let's jump into number 4. I picked the wrong path. I should try to do something else. I guess the emotional pain got to be too much for you. If you quit now, you'll be one of those storytellers when you're old. Like I just told you my story. I should have bought 25 years ago. I mean, I could do that same thing, right? So instead of doing all that, why don't you go search in your mind for your misunderstood concept or words? and get them cleared up. Now, here's how I want you to do this, Peter. How I want our listeners to do this.
Yeah.
If you think you know something, you listen to us and you think you have the concept, you can do one of two things. You could talk to a seller, which you won't do because it's too dangerous. They won't do because it's too dangerous. So do this. Find a 9 or 10-year-old kid or 11-year-old kid and explain it to them.
But without using our big words, use plain English.
Well,
right?
No, they could use whatever words they want.
Yeah, but the kid won't understand it, though.
That's my point. So if they don't understand it, that means you don't understand it because you can't dumb it down enough to explain it to them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, no, you can say blah, 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 but then you better explain it. And if you can't, then you don't know it well enough.
And if you can't explain it to them, then you have a misunderstood word or a concept. If you can't explain it to a 9-year-old kid, you yourself have a problem with that term or that word or that concept. If you can't break it down, you better go look it up in a dictionary or go find research and get it defined. Because
get your real estate dictionary out.
Because you don't know it. Right? So that's my point on number 4. Number 5. I don't know where to begin. So I laugh out loud very, very hard when I hear that.
Yup.
Because here's where you start. Step number 1. Right? What do they say? It's the first step to the 1,000-mile journey.
There's a quote. I think it's Napoleon. It doesn't sound like it should be, but it was something like, start just where you are, with just what you have, and start going.
Yep.
Just whatever you got, just go. Do something.
So what's the first step in creative real estate? Do you know?
Find a motivated seller.
Right. So you are right, except you're only halfway there, Peter. What else do you do when you find that motivated seller? What's the formula?
Well, you should
find and communicate.
To. That's
there
right.
You go.
Yeah, you added that recently.
Yeah. Find
you can't just
and
find
communicate.
Yeah, talk to
a
him.
Motivated seller, right? So that's the first step. You know, so here's the oddness of this entire business that I have spent umpteen hours, days. I've got 325 podcasts of an hour long minimum. I've got blogs, I've got books. I've written 6 books. I mean, I do personally 5 or 6 events a week about creative real estate. Personally. I feel like I have something to say here because I'm constantly getting feedback because I'm in front of people all day long. Like this afternoon, I'm doing live closing calls. If you're in my WhatsApp group called Let's Talk Real Estate, it's a free group. You go to WhatsApp and just type in Let's Talk Real Estate. There's like 100-something people in there. There's not a lot of people in there. But every so often, I'll be like, let's do some live closing calls. So I give them a Zoom link, and I actually go into my system, and I pick out people, and I call them, and they watch me call on my leads and making deals for free.
Sure.
Right? Now, I don't do it every week. I don't do it every month, but I do it, right?
And that's valuable to hear what it really sounds like.
Right.
Just the attitude you have with people, the rapport you have, and just the frankness you have. That's valuable.
The point that I'm trying to make here is that you don't need to study anything except who's paying you, how they react. The seller is paying you with equity. You don't need to know anything. So go talk to a seller and say, you know what? I don't know. Let me go find out. And now you go get that information. Remember, I said information is not scarce. There's plenty of information. But what information do you need? Well, you need an answer to that question, so you go get that information. That's how you're going to learn. And I also told you that houses don't sign documents at closings. So you're not buying houses. So the most valuable thing you could do is talk to a seller. So this formula is always this. The formula is 1, find and communicate to a motivated seller. And you pre-qualify them quick. 3-4 minutes on the phone, you pre-qualify them if they're motivated or not. Right? Number 2, tell them you buy houses, or even better, you tell them I make monthly payments, or I get a discount. That's what I do. Number 3, ask them what's needed and wanted, which is as simple as this. What would have to happen for me to buy a house today? Or Better yet, what would have to happen for you to sell your house today? And then number 4, give them what they want. And that's what we use the seven strategies for. So what do you need to study? Just call and study your seller. The best thing you could do is study sellers, because that's how you're going to make money. Mm-hmm. We're going to skip down to number 7 now. I'm overwhelmed. Truth is, this is one of 2 things. Mm-hmm. No action. It's all in your head. Mm-hmm. And it's not coming out. Or you're not writing to-do list and organizing by priority. So here's what happens. When you have it all in your head, like, what makes an executive tired? Non-compliance, because he's like, oh, Peter didn't call that guy. Now I got to call him on top of everything else that I have to do.
You should begin that sentence with Sean, not Peter. Only because I'm here and he's not. The rule is whoever isn't here, we pick on them. When he's here, you can use my name, okay?
I'm just joking. I just use your name arbitrarily. The point is that when an executive has non-compliance, he doesn't have juniors or people under him doing something, he now feels like he or she needs to do that. That makes you mentally exhausted.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times my daughter has become a high-power exec. I mean, this chick, I can't believe what she's doing. She calls me yesterday and she's like, Dad. I'm like, what now? She goes, she just met. They invited her to a room of like 8 people in a room with the guy that runs all the colleges in the state of Connecticut. They wanted Jesse to meet him.
Wow.
Because she runs some program and she's got this concept that she needs to put this program in all the community colleges in the state of Connecticut. And they're like, really? We want that. Right? I'm really proud of her. She's doing amazing, right?
She's a good girl.
My point in telling you that is that she'll call me and she'll be overwhelmed. And I'll be like, write it down, Jess. Write a to-do list. Just get it out of your head. And here's the thing about to-do lists. When you're doing time blocking, so it's like from 9 until 10, I have to do the podcast. From 10 until 11, I need to do whatever. I need to do the administration for the podcast. From 12 until 1, from 12 until 3, I'm going to work on my to-do list. And then as I think of something, like this morning, I need to order a protein shake. I've been thinking about it for 4 days.
Bill, write it down.
I came from the kitchen all the way down to my office and I put it on my to-do list because I'll get going and I'll totally forget about it because I'm not thinking about protein shake only in the morning when I'm drinking my protein shake.
Yep.
So I wrote it down. But now I don't have to think about it. See, what happens is when you write it down, you don't have to think about it.
Right. One of my tricks is people go, oh, I forgot. Well, when you think of it, you have to do it.
Right.
You can't think of it and say, I'll do it later, because then you forget.
Right.
When you think of it, at least write it down or just go do it. Just don't lose your don't stop what you're supposed to be doing, but at least write it down.
All right, we need to keep moving here because we're running late. So, number 9, I'm not making any progress. I'm going to very simply just refer this. The best solution is to read The Gap in the Gain by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Just go read the book, The Gap in the Gain. Because what's happening is you're trying to measure your dreams instead of what you've done. Oh. You're trying to measure what's ahead of you instead of what you've done behind you.
So you're looking at what you didn't do yet.
Yeah.
Not what you did do. Not giving yourself credit for your accomplishments. Glass half empty, glass half empty, glass half empty.
Yeah. And remember when I first did, we did a couple podcasts on this, when this happened to me, because I kept thinking the horizon keeps moving because every couple of weeks I change my goals.
Yeah.
Because I'm a maniac that way. There you'll realize you should not measure success from your goals, but instead measure from where you came from. And you'll soon see a major shift and calm you down. Mm-hmm. So just go get that book. It's called The Gap in the Gain. It's by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Dan Sullivan's a big coaching guy. Mm-hmm. Number 11. I need to know more. Of what? As in number 5, where to begin? All you need to study is your seller and the issues they have. I'm going to tell you, Peter, I'm going through something. I told you I've been kind of like on this little bit of study about environments. Like your environment affects you more than I didn't realize how much your environment affects you. You think I would notice that, but your environment, and there's this thing that I'm calling environmental programming your environment. Like for example, you need to take vitamins. Put them at the sink so when you're brushing your teeth, you take your vitamins and you'll remember. Right? Things like that. Like just programming your environment. Like having a schedule is programming. I get notifications on my phone. Oh yeah, at 3:00 today I have a call. That's programming your environment. On the heels of that, I'm going to tell you point blank how you could be a multi-millionaire. And it is too simple. It's interest. Just talk to a seller and give them your interest, your attention. 100% interest. I'm going through this with the church. I'm going through this with, we're part of this whole fundraising thing. We're raising a bunch of money. I'm part of like my creative REI reply, who's giving interest and who's not. I am telling you that interest and admiration are the sources of a fortune. They are the sources of a fortune. I can't emphasize it enough. There's just not enough ways for me to explain it to you.
But I think you better say a few more things, because I get it, because we've been looking at things like that for a while, but I don't know, the average person, that may not make sense, like interest, admiration. But you're talking communication here and how you treat people. I mean, think of the last time you were in a restaurant and the waitress came by like, yeah, what do you want? And then I told her what you want, and then she forgets to bring the coffee. She doesn't do this. Like, she doesn't care. Sometimes you call it caring. Is that close enough to this?
No,
caring?
it's interest. So Zig Ziglar said you can have everything you want in life if you'll help enough people get what they want. What people want is they want you to be interested in them. They want you to hear their story and help them.
Yeah, they don't want to hear your story.
That's okay. You can share your story, but you need to share your story with, this is the reason why I can help you.
Your story has to match what they're looking for. You don't tell them a story that doesn't help them. You'll lose them. You ever talk to somebody, all of a sudden they just look away, they're not interested? What are you talking about? They're not interested in that. What are you talking about? Find their interest.
So
maybe they'll find some of your interest in.
Let me just patch the pieces together, because we could do a whole webinar on this, right?
Yep.
The reason why I came to that is because, believe it or not, I have a neighbor, and they're younger people, and it's like for some reason I have attention on them for like a year, and I'm like, why do I keep thinking about these people? Why do I care? I mean, and I finally figured it out. For some reason, I think at one time, I couldn't remember the daughter's name, and I said to her, hey, sweetheart, how you doing this morning? And the mother was walking them, and I think she thinks I'm like some child predator or something. I don't know. But here's what I figured out. And I'm the furthest thing from that, obviously. But here's what I figured out. They don't talk to me. And that's a form of invalidation. They're ignoring me, and that's invalidation.
Yep. Definitely.
So too many people get invalidated because they get ignored. You send somebody a text and they don't respond. They're ignoring you. That's invalidation. Yeah. That's loss. That's heavy duty emotional shit that is in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind loves that.
Yeah.
So when you show interest in somebody, and don't fake it, you're really interested, life changes. You could make a freaking fortune. You don't need training. You don't need coaching. You don't need anything. Just call a seller and be interested. Not interesting. Interesting means you're showing off. Be interested. Just care.
Powerful.
Oh, Jesus. I went to the other podcast to find out, and I wrote it right here. Remember what I wrote it right here. I can't believe that I just did
what?
That. It's the next paragraph. I should have read it. Remember what Zig Ziglar said. You have everything you want in life if you will help enough people get what they want.
Yeah, no, you read it before. You got it.
Learn what they want and how to give it to them, and you will be rich. Best thing here is to listen to the podcast number 285. We cover it fully there. our podcast number 285. There we talk about how procrastinators or procrastination is a form of wisdom. And use it when you really want something more for yourself, but lack knowledge and capability to do it. That's procrastination. Procrastination is really something you want more for yourself, but lack knowledge and capability to do it. Mm-hmm. That's procrastination. So go listen to podcast number 285. Number 14, I have no resources compared to them. The book to read again is Who, Not How. Mm-hmm. What you're doing is you're asking yourself, how can I get this? And you're falling short in saying, I don't have resources. If you find a who, like for example, I was making some videos for Creative REI Reply, and I spent 4 or 5 hours making these videos, and they came out okay. We paid a professional actor, 2 professional actors, $75 a piece, and they made us these unbelievable videos. It's because I found the who. Instead of trying to find out how to do it, like how do I make my own video, how do I edit it? I mean, I knew a lot of that already. I wasted 4 or 5 hours of my afternoon, and Sean gave me a rash of shit because he's like, I wish you would have spent those 4 or 5 hours talking to sellers on the phone.
Well, there you go again, doing monkey work. When you're kind of the face and like the teacher and all that stuff. Yeah. But I haven't seen these, so you got 2 actual actors who to do them. Yeah, and they have their own equipment. They make everything.
Yeah, and one of them is, I went on a video and I made a video and they chopped up the video and just got me talking and they just put it in. So I could have just done. It could have taken me a half an hour. I could have shot a video and then we send it. But the point is we found the right who.
And they edited it for you.
And it came out unbelievable.
That's
Number 15. I'm drained from everything else. Work, other responsibilities. We already talked about this. This tells me this tells me you're proud of your business. I had to read my writing there. You like to prove you work hard. And you want everyone else to see it. You just can't say no and end up with too much to do. Because you're trying to prove everyone that you're working hard.
Wow.
I suggest you inventory your activities, even put them in a calendar, then prioritize what you're doing to align with your goals. And you'll soon focus on what's important for you. Mm-hmm. A great book here is Dan Kennedy's book for time management. Would be a great help or resource for you. It's like $15. All these books are like $15. Yep. But here's the thing. I'm going through this right now because when you get to a certain point, you're going to be like, what makes me money? What doesn't make me money? Mm-hmm. And you prioritize that. So watching videos of you and I showing them how to do, is that making you money? No. What you should do is spend an hour talking to a seller, make your mistakes, the reach and withdraw. Go make your mistakes and then pull out and figure out how you could fix it.
Yep.
Number 16, I am taking action, which folds right into what we were just talking about. I am taking action. Or are you talking about it? We are happy and satisfied by our results, not our actions. Mm-hmm. So if you want to, like going back to the one we just talked about, you want results to brag about, not that I'm working really hard. Our friend Al is like this. Mr. Al is like this. Mm-hmm. He works really hard. He worked for a corporation for 43 years, and he had to prove to them always that he was working hard so they can keep paying him his hourly wage. Right? Mm-hmm. That's the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. An employee works for hours. They swap dollars for hours, and an entrepreneur swaps results for dollars.
Yep.
Right? Which is the reason why a lot of people have trouble paying for coaching. Because I could be on the phone with them for 15 minutes and charge them a chunk of dough, and they're like, he only spent 15 minutes with me. No, but what I told you made a lot of money. Like I was on a coaching call the other day, and one of my coaching clients has a deal, and he walked away from the deal. And I said to him, "What do you mean you walked away? Why don't you just do this?" And he texted the guy while I was, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." And then he went silent. He texted the guy while he was on the coaching call, and he came back on a coaching call. He says, "I got an appointment with him tomorrow. I think I got the deal alive again."
Yep.
I didn't need to spend a lot of time with him. I just said, "Just do this." Right? And that's where people disrespect coaching, because they're like, it's not how much time, it's doing the right thing at the right time and bouncing things off of. The biggest thing that I do with my coaching clients is verify that their deals are good. That's the biggest thing I do for my coaching clients. 18, it won't work. Here we go. Henry Ford once said, "Whatever you think you can, or whatever you think you can't, you're right."
You're right.
It won't work. So if you think it won't work, you're right. Your attitude and viewpoint on things is how to get what you want. Just look around yourself right now, and you'll see the manifestations of your thoughts in your exact vicinity right now, in your physical universe. If you walk into your bedroom and it's sloppy, you're a sloppy thinker. If it's nice and neat, I think a guy wrote, I forgot the name of it, Make Your Bed. It's an army guy. And he wrote a whole book on when you get up in the morning, that discipline of making your bed is like how your day is going to be. Right? It's what you think. If you think it won't work, if you think that everything is a scam, then guess what you're going to find all the time? You're going to find everything's going to be a scam. Right? Look at my mother and father. I said, I think we can find them a house. It's going to be, they're going to live better than they ever lived for the last several years of their lives because of this hurricane. And it's amazing what we found, because we found a guy that his mother, she found him on Facebook. My sister found him on Facebook. His mother went into assisted living, and not only did we rent the apartment, but he gave us all her furniture. We have to buy barely any furniture. And he's like, "I want to pay it forward because somebody did it for me, so I want to like help you." So we're going in, we're going to buy him a mattress and like a few things, it's like this weekend they'll be like living like they used to. Because I kept telling my sister, all we need is a king-size bed, 2 recliners, and a king-size TV. We need to fill the refrigerator with food and leave them alone for a month. And let them just recoup.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's what I got, because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, all we need is, and that's what I got.
Nice.
19, don't have enough resources, money, equipment, etc. First of all, you don't find money to do your deals. You find deals to get your money.
Yep.
If you're helping enough people with the right deal, you'll always have plenty of resources. Just like what I told the story about my mother and father, right?
Yeah.
Right? Either your offer is bad, if you're not making deals, your offers are bad, or you're not outflowing enough. It's one or the other. There's only 2 reasons why you're not making money. Your offers are bad, right? In other words, it's all for you, none for them, or all for them, none for you. They're off balance, or you're not outflowing enough. There's the only reasons why you don't have money. There are no other. Absolutely, positively, definitely, no other excuses. You're either making bad deals, which could be fixed very easily. That could be fixed in a 45-minute consultation with me, right? Which is free. Go to Flipping Houses for Rookies and just send a support ticket, and I'll send you the link for the free consultation.
Yep.
Either you're making bad deals or you're not outflowing enough. There's the only 2 reasons why you're not getting money.
And it's not that your deal structuring is wrong. It may not be the right thing for the person in the situation, the conditions, whatever it is. You're not making them happy.
So go back to what you just said, and we need to go because it's time, and we got one more to do. So think of this. Don't say your deals are bad. They aren't bad. Your offers are not bad. They're off balance. They're too much for the seller, not enough for you. Too much for you, not enough for the seller. They're just off balance. That's all they are. So you just need to get them back in balance. It's not hard. It's a mindset. It's not information. It's not a talent. It's not sales skills. It's just common sense. And I can show you how to do that if you did a free consultation. And again, just go to Flipping Houses for Rookies, support, and I'll send you a link. 20. I'm not good enough. So, Peter.
Yes?
Your doctor. What does your doctor have? A what?
A diploma on the wall.
Okay. And what do they have? What is their business called? A what?
A practice.
Right. And what does your lawyer have?
They're all practicing still.
And what does a CPA have? They have a practice. Right? So what does practice mean?
You don't know how to do it yet.
Do it enough times and you'll get really good at it.
Yeah.
The trick here is to practice on deals you don't want or don't mean much to you, which you did in the very beginning, because back in the day we didn't realize how important or how good FSBOs were, for sale by owners were, and I had you calling for sale by owners, and you're like, you call me back, and I'm like, what do you mean we got an appointment? What? I've told a lot of people to do that, and you're the first person to call me back and say, we have an appointment to go look at a house.
Duh. Follow instructions. Right? Listen to the boss. But, you know, in anything you do, you want to start with just practicing, or like I call it, it's also called waste. Like, do some things just to waste them, just to practice and throw them away, that you don't have to have them. You call it being a reluctant buyer. Same thing. Just practicing and just like not caring, just to see what it's like.
Take all the neediness out of the deal.
Yeah, and then by accident you'll get something in your lap, but just get moving. Move.
So here's the thing. This is the law. Number of times over, learning materials builds confidence.
Yeah.
Talk to sellers, record yourself talking, learn from every conversation, and soon you'll be better than me. Okay, Peter. So hopefully that was a good podcast for our listeners. Make sure you go in the description. There is a link there for a guide that I did not write. I actually generated this podcast because I've read it, that blog a couple times. It's an awesome blog. He goes into much more detail. The name of the blog comes from the Startup Bros. The Startup Bros. You can go there too if you want, but the link is right in the description. Go check it out. You'll find yourself very relieved to see that, you know, I obviously altered some of the solutions because of Creative Real Estate, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to get a free consultation, a free one-on-one 45-minute consultation with me, go to support, go to Flipping Houses for Rookies support, and I'll send you the link. If you have any questions, go to Flipping Houses for Rookies support. If you want to get into our group, it's WhatsApp Messenger. Type in Let's Talk Real Estate, or again, send me a support ticket. I'll send you a link. And we do a lot of stuff in that Let's Talk Real Estate. There's a lot of good guys in there, and girls. And then in final, make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're listening to us or watching us, and make sure you give us a like or a dislike, and leave us a review if you could. We love our reviews. That's our report card. I spend about 5 or 6 hours a week performing this podcast, between writing it and editing things and uploading it and putting it on the platforms, and Peter's a couple hours. So we put a lot of time in to give you this free information. Just be respectful and pay us back with either a review or a like or something. Take action, please. All right? Over and out, boys and girls. Next week, Peter. Next week. Ooh, yeah. Doggy. Where is it? I got to find it.
You giving us a heads up?
Oh, yeah. Next week. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, my goodness. Oh, I don't know where I put my notebook. What the hell did I do? Oh, here it is. I put my mail on top of it. Next podcast, which is episode number 327. Ready?
Yep.
Rookie creative deal structuring ideas.
Oh. Good.
And it's different. Okay, we're over and out. Talk to you on episode number 327. Have a good week. Find some deals. Send them to me. Let me know what you're doing. Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.